Welcome to the Powercast with Charlie Johnson. I'm one of the world's leading fitness and transformation coaches. I'm going to be providing you with the tools to build your ultimate body and mind. Pleasure today to have great friend Faisal, aka the Dictator, who likes to be known as on social media, who is a physique competitor, or bodybuilding competitor, who's lived in 3 continents, did you say?
Yeah, 3 continents.
So you're a prep coach, a therapist, posing coach, master of many a trade. You also helped me last year thoroughly when I was competing at Body Power and at the Aldershot show, the PTA. So
yes, indeed.
Yes, you, my friend. How are you doing?
Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. That means a lot to me. Especially knowing where you're heading in the business, man. I mean, one of the top guys now.
Too kind. And a lot you've played a big part of that. In particular, like last year, you had a very big influence, positive influence on me. So if I can't thank you for that. So that's sincerely from the bottom of my heart.
Thank you.
So we will obviously have a bit of a run through about yourself. So who are you? Where are you from? What do you do, Faisal?
Right. I came to England in 2000, actually. I came to study here. My father's been here for quite a long time. But before that, I was living in America. Before that, it was the Middle East. So that's why, the 3 continents.
Yeah.
I kind of grabbed the habit.
The American twang you have.
Yes, that's where the accent's from. A lot of people ask me, like, you've been living in England for a long time. Are you ever going to get rid of that accent? It's not going to go that easy. I tried. But yes, living in 3 continents, I kind of gathered the, as I grew up now, I start seeing the difference in the eating habits and the lifestyle, the cultures, and it kind of, helped me adapt.
A lot, doesn't it? I think.
Say that again. Sorry.
It educates you a lot the more you travel.
Oh, definitely. Big education, and I obviously start getting along with more people, because obviously when you're sort of very multicultural, you kind of get along with everyone. And now, especially being a coach, I coach a lot of people from like different corners of the planet.
Here's a good question, because I see you speak a lot of languages. How many languages do you speak?
I speak 3, but I say 2.5. No, my English is really good. It's my mother tongue, actually. Arabic I speak because of my family.
Yeah,
I speak a bit of Spanish too because of the heritage. So it's kind of a blessing. But I only write diets in English.
Yeah, the Spanish market would be a good market to get into, though. I've been trying to work that one out, but my Spanish is.
We'll see how it goes on that one, because it's just as good as my Chinese.
So obviously, with yourself and your clients, they're based a little bit all over the place. And what's very interesting about you, obviously, you've got a very strong Arabic influence, and we've obviously just come through Ramadan. So I've had my own protocols in terms of how I work with clients.
Uh-huh.
I think it'd be a fascinating conversation to find out how you've personally found managing clients through that period. Have you had anyone in contest prep during that, or?
Yeah. I mean, I got a lot of people ready in Iraq. They were doing their nationals, and some of them because the IFBB Pro League just managed to get to the north of Iraq, and they had their first show this year. And men's physique. Say that again?
You won a pro card there?
No, they didn't have a pro card, actually. They just had the show. Yeah. They've given out the medals and the trophies, but there was no pro card yet, just because they couldn't fly. I think they couldn't fly the officials that in the right time, I think, or something like that. I didn't really know the exact details, so I really can't say. But it was an IFBB Pro League show. So I did get someone ready there. He got 4th in 2 different categories. It was a last minute thing. I do have a lot of people from the Middle East, and they're doing quite well. I mean, it's since Kuwait has kind of become the mecca of bodybuilding of the East.
More so than Dubai.
Dubai, yes. I mean, the Emirates actually.
I'm off there in July again.
Yeah, it's a beautiful place. I mean, I think if you're an athlete living in Dubai, you have no chance of being out of shape. You know, it's that kind of place that you can't get out of shape. You know, but I think the Emirates had the first men's physique show in the Middle East complete. Like they had the first ever men's physique, and I prepped. I'm sure everyone knows this guy. His name is AB, the guy with the big afro. He was the youngest Arabic men's physique competitor ever to stand on stage, and I was his coach, being honored to be his coach for the first show. He did the Arnold Classic after, and he placed in all shows basically. So yeah, I mean the Middle East is becoming something huge because the Middle East is not even one country. It's quite a big thing.
Network.
Yeah, exactly. And your name goes in one country, and it just everyone would know who you are straight away. So you need to be very careful sometimes.
Make sure your name's held in high regard then. So.
Oh yeah, we try our best. That Dictator didn't come in really well over there in the beginning. You're like, oh, we just got rid of him now, and this guy comes
on the block.
Yeah, there's a new kid on the block with that beard. I mean, I'm shaved now, but I had a lot of messages today, like, what happened to your beard?
Makes you look younger. Makes you look a lot younger. But with the dieting style of Ramadan, is there any specifics on how you set that up for someone?
Yes, I mean in Ramadan, because as probably everyone knows now, that you can only eat between certain hours, and it's mainly in the evening. So some of the pros or some of the guys who have don't have much work, or they don't have 9-to-5 jobs, they just switch the day around. So they sleep the whole day, and they just wake up at night and just do whatever they used to do in the morning, but they switch it over to night.
Gym's open all night there then? Is everything open almost?
Yes. Gym's open after they break their fast. And they close in the morning. They close between certain times. I think they open first thing in the morning, but then they close for like a good 6 hours or something. And then they open in the evening again. But the structure of dieting during Ramadan, it's quite intense, because at that month you can't actually build any muscle because the calorie intake isn't that high.
You can't get enough in, can you really?
So all it is maintaining, and it's the fluid. I mean, food is one thing, but it's the water that you kind of get dehydrated during the day with that hot weather as well, especially being at this time of the year. And Ramadan changes, obviously, it goes backwards every year. So if it's June this year, it'll be May next year. So, this kind of obviously becomes worse as they get, the heat, going with the heat. So they lose a lot of minerals as well. So, as soon as what I do, the structure that I do usually with most of the guys is that as soon as they try to break their fast, I tell them get something really quick, like quick absorbing. I mean, protein mainly first thing. So if you have, let's say, whey isolate, hydrolyzed whey, even if it's BCAAs, some EAAs, whatever you can get first thing to just and then open your gut, and then have your first meal being whatever it is. I think no one actually, because it's a family thing, it's, a lot of people gather. So I usually tell them, like, try chicken and rice with vegetables, high fiber. And then, some of them can, some of them can't. So, I try to tell them, have just that one plate, and then come back within an hour and a half or 2 hours, because it's such short period, between breaking fast and then holding it again. So I try to tell them to eat every an hour and a half at least, but just that one plate. Don't overdo it, because most guys would just keep going.
Keep playing the food, buffet table syndrome.
That's exactly what it is. Over there they put a huge, plate, and then everyone just takes from that plate. And then I just tell them, okay, if you're going to do that, have just that one plate first, and then an hour and a half later, see how you feel, and then you can, start a scale.
Psychologically, I do that myself. I do it with a lot of clients as well, as even if they're going to those sort of, like, I don't know, all you can eat holiday resorts, is just like, you can have whatever you want as long as you can get it on one plate, because it's almost damage limitation. Like you might be stacking pizzas on there, but at least it's one plate. You're not going 10 plates deep, so it's.
100%, 100%.
Oh,
It's a clever way of doing it. It's a very, very smart way of doing it, especially with someone who's very hungry. You tell them, listen, that's all you have right now. In 2 hours time, you can eat again, but it'll be that one plate. But some of the bodybuilders were very, very serious. They would actually cook proper diet meals and will have it every 2 hours.
Yeah.
The issue that I had with most of the guys, as soon as they sleep, they start cramping because the minerals are, from not drinking the whole day.
Yeah.
So I started telling them, like, even if you put salt with your water and try to drink it,
the electrolytes in.
Just exactly. Some countries
heat out there as well. That's the issue, isn't it?
Say that again. Sorry.
With the heat out there, that's the issue.
Oh yeah. I've seen in the Emirates, for example, in Dubai and places like that, you can buy electrolyte, effervescent tablets, and that would give you quite enough. But places like Syria and Iraq, they still don't have that kind of, luxury of having, this many supplements.
Yeah.
Or they never thought about it. Probably no one would, all the distributors wouldn't even want to bring it. They don't even know what it's for. They're not that educated. So I usually tell them, just put some salt with your water and drink it. And I was like, okay, we're eating now, but I'm very full even after that because I haven't eaten the whole day. I've put a plate and I'm too full. So I start telling them, okay, you don't have digestive enzymes because they don't import it there. They don't need it.
Nice.
So I'll tell, some pineapple just for some digestive enzymes to, to flush your food down.
Yeah.
Just for you to be able to eat again in 2 hours. It'll make you hungry a little bit, In terms of training, this is the hard part because I try to get them to train just about an hour before they break their fast.
You train completely fasted.
Yes, completely fasted, but then you cannot actually go, as we say, balls to the wall.
Yeah,
you can't do that.
Exactly.
So what you're going to do is just a couple of sets here, a couple of sets there, and it's time to go home. As I said, it's all maintenance. You really can't build muscle at this month. With this kind of food, it's really, really hard. Some people don't even fast. So,
to be fair, an interesting thing that I don't know why I had this crazy idea. I thought obviously I'm not religious, but out of curiosity, I might try it for a day or two next year just to see what it felt like. A curiosity of just to see how my body would feel, if that makes sense.
The thing is, I get asked this question quite a lot because, I'm not particularly very religious. So people ask me, like, are you fasting? No, I can't. I have a stomach ulcer. I can't do it. I'm competing this year. I think Big Grammy actually, he fasts while he's dieting for a show. But that's when I said to you just a minute ago, I said to you, they switched the days around. They switched the morning to night and night to morning. So he sleeps the whole day. But they asked me, it's like, what's the benefit, of fasting? Obviously when you're like very religious and your faith is completely blind. Okay. I can't say blind, but when you're very into the religion, you kind of feel the benefits out of it because you want to feel it.
Psychological. It's like the placebo effect.
Absolutely. It's like, it's working. It's amazing. It's detox, but at the same time, you're depriving your body from fluids, from minerals, vitamins, from, it's more of a moral thing, very, feeling what others, the poor feel.
I can understand that as well. 100% gives you perspective.
But in terms of scientifically how it works for the body, I think it's a bit, it is wrecking your body slowly. I don't believe in it personally. This is my personal opinion. I'm not saying that I'm against it or with it, but I don't believe in it. Just because of the fluid. If I can keep water in, that's not a problem. But
it's almost like dangerous to sound, particularly with heat out there.
Exactly. I've seen people faint before. I've seen people completely pass out and going to hospital, ending up on an IV, and fair enough. It's the religion, you need to follow it and everything. But if you're feeling ill, then I'm sure there's an exception somehow.
So with your clients, then, would you just look to get 2 to 3 average size meals in when they can eat?
Yes. Because as I said, it's a small period. So
something I found like it's be interesting your input on that was using like stuff like if people are struggling to get calories in, is using things like almond butter because at the last meal because it's so calorie dense.
Yeah.
In like 50 grams of almond butter. There's a big whack of calories without even thinking about
it. There's a meal that has a name actually, which is the last meal of the day that before you complete
almond butter meal.
Yeah. It's like the last meal before you start fasting.
Yeah.
And I usually give them oats.
Yeah.
With almond butter or peanut butter, natural peanut butter. I even tell them to put some berries in there.
Yeah.
At that point, because your body's going to stop eating for that long, there is no way your body's actually going to store anything. It's probably your body. I mean, I'll be honest with you. 90% of people in the Middle East now put on weight during Ramadan and not actually lose weight. And it's funny. It's funny because for me, the way I look at it, it's supposed to be a healthy thing that you're doing.
Because they're just eating junk in the window when they can eat. There's been
exactly. So the first thing they do is just stuff their faces completely with so much food, and they just keep eating from sunset to sunrise. They just keep eating the whole go, and it's I find it really unhealthy, especially when you're doing that. So I mean,
it's a very cool relationship with food, I think, in a lot of respects.
100%. I mean, again, it's an education that is completely not there yet in the Middle East. People still, I mean, I would very much doubt if I hold a tub of protein in front of anyone in the street, they'll probably turn around and say, oh, well, that's probably, what is this? Like people still don't know what that is.
No.
So the education in terms of nutrition is not that high anyway.
Now, in terms of your clients coming out Ramadan, is there anything you do specifically to their digestion, from a metabolic point of view or anything like that? Because obviously they're in a bit of a shitstorm and where they're going to be at digestively and metabolically, having been doing severe fasting for a period of time. Severe, greatest respect to Ramadan. It's obviously from a healthy perspective. Ideal.
Yeah.
Any trick
I do
for anyone?
Yeah, I mean, I do exactly what I do with my athletes when they're depleted after a show. I usually reverse sort of carb load or reverse diet. So start with smaller calories, smaller meals, and then slowly during every week I increase the food. Obviously, I tried putting people back to normal diets before, okay, Ramadan's finished, there's your 6 meals, steak, pre-workout and dextrose,
oats and carbs and
exactly. And I realized a lot of people not only got fat, even more is that a lot of people had problems with their digestive system. So a lot of them started to develop IBS or something like that, or their IBS that was there, it became even worse, or they cannot absorb the dextrose that I give them during training. It just goes right through. So I started to introduce things really slow, and that for the body to adapt slowly, and it worked much better. I kept the cardio in, especially at that time. Just to kick their metabolism.
I was having a conversation with someone yesterday that I find, like, at the moment I've backed off my cardio quite heavily because my body's pretty lean now and I don't need to really push it. Just going for a walk for 60 minutes before eating breakfast stimulates my digestive system so well. It gets
absolutely.
By the time I want to come around to eat, my first meal literally is a breeze. My body just absorbs it straight through.
As I said, I mean, we look for me, the way I look at things, I look at athletes. I look at with every athlete, every athlete has a gift. And for me, Dexter Jackson is one of the guys that I really look up to, especially at this age. He's 50 something and the guy's still lean and he still competes at a high level. And the way I look at him, if Dexter Jackson does cardio in the morning, just to kick his metabolism, that means there's something right about it. And I started doing that just before I started dieting, and it was working really well. And as you said, I get on the bike, you go out for a walk, whatever it is. It could be anything.
Around, yeah.
it could be a cycle outside or something, but something you do, an activity that you do on an empty stomach just to kick that, your metabolism first thing in the morning is so important. It settles your mind as well as your digestive system, in that sense. Makes you more hungry. You get your meals even more efficiently after, because if you have your meal, you're never satisfied. You get to the second, and after 3 hours, 2.5, 3 hours, you're still hungry and you still want to go on and on. It's a lot of people
as well. As soon as I have as soon as I've done my cardio, I have 20 grams of glutamine, 3 grams of taurine, a gram of glycine as well, to try and help hydration, gut health repair, and get my gallbladder fired up as well. So I'll eat about 20 minutes after that. Again, just try and get my stomach settled and ready for the day's food and come in and try and utilize it, because it is not what you eat, but what you absorb is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, we always, as how we started as beginners, we used to think of how much protein and how much carbs and how much fats we should get in.
Calories, you just worry about the minutiae too much of those.
Exactly. Bring more protein because it builds muscles. But what we never thought about is how much your body can actually absorb.
Yeah.
And it's one of these things where now I start thinking about it. It's like, okay, why did I drop this guy's protein a little bit, but he looks much better? And you have to realize how much you're putting on your organs when you're putting this much protein, and how much is your body going to actually utilize out of this.
And you can only use a certain amount of one sitting as well. So like particularly so with Ramadan, if you're eating 150 grams of protein in one hit, your body's not using probably 110 grams of that for most people.
Absolutely. So this is Ramadan. As I said, I repeat this one more time. It's all about maintenance. You cannot build muscle during that unless your job is a bodybuilder and you can switch the days around.
Or you're fairly new to training, probably.
Oh yes, yeah, probably. Or are you trying to lose weight?
It's ideal for that, but for Ramadan shred life.
I like that one.
On a slightly different topic, what would you say are the big differences in terms of culture-wise with the Arabic nations in terms of food? What works for them with clients? What doesn't work?
Well, basically, I mean, obviously, yeah, especially Arabs. I mean, their food is quite dense. I mean, they cook with animal fat, I think, and especially in restaurants. The type of food, the Mediterranean, Arab, Middle Eastern food is quite dense. They use a lot of lamb meat. That we don't basically use a lot of beef sometimes, but lamb is like the main thing. A lot of oil, a lot of like nuts, but even the nuts, they fry the nuts as well and put them on rice. So it's the type of food itself just kind of slows you down. You're trying to progress, if you're trying to lose weight or if you're trying to get in shape or anything. So you're going to have to sort of like, especially if you're having a mother who cooks that kind of food and you need to like stay away from that.
Yeah.
I'm talking about youngsters, especially, teenagers. It's that's the biggest thing. And, again, I went from the Middle East to America. America was even worse, because of the takeouts, the fast food was even worse. And now in the Arab,
good out there as well. And it's just everywhere.
And it's not that expensive. You think about, 5 guys here, you get a burger for £8. In America, it's like you go in and out LA, you're getting it for nothing, like $4 or something. And in what they tried to do in the Middle East is that they kind of fell in that kind of globalization system where McDonald's has appeared, cheesecake factories there. I could mention a lot of names, but it will take us the whole day. But they like that kind of.
Cheesecake Factory. That's one of my favorites. That's to Dubai.
Yeah, but that's what it is. It's like it's amazing for us as bodybuilders because we deprive ourselves from eating that. So it tastes much better. But imagine you're there living.
Yeah, but you also realize as well, if you ate there on a daily basis, that I can't go there and eat a meal and it'd be under 3,000 calories. Like literally, like if you have, I think the bacon ranch salad, which is amazing, it's like 1,700, 1,800 calories for a salad.
That's what I mean.
Like,
That's what I mean.
you're
So
in deep.
imagine a population that goes to eat in this kind of, in a city full of that.
Yeah.
So it's even harder as athletes are concerned. If I'm speaking about athletes, I even find it hard to take them off cheat meals because they're used to it so much, and now, I mean, in 2010 or 12, they opened the first low calorie sort of diet restaurant in Dubai, and it was something completely new, and just now in Dubai, all these new prep companies, meal prep companies started to kick off really well.
Protein House out there, there's a few of them, yeah.
Yeah, so there's Protein House. There's a few. I don't even remember the names now, but it's kind of picked up pretty well. Kuwait is one of them as well. Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. I'm not really like clued up on. It's a very closed area.
What do you think caused the big boom in the fitness scene out there? Out of curiosity.
Okay, there's two. I always talk about it. There's two things that a lot of people don't realize. In the Arab countries, you're not allowed. In most of the Arab countries, you're not allowed to. There's no clubs. There's no drinking, or drinking is seen as something that is very shameful. So you don't go out to clubs. You don't meet girls. You don't. So where is your outlet?
Yeah, well, when you drive your steam, what do you do?
Exactly. Where do you want to get all this testosterone, or all that anger that you have as a youngster? So you do it in two things. You even start fighting in the streets, or you build gyms for people, and they just end up training. And that's exactly what happened in Iran, for example. People can't drink. They have no clubs. They can't mix with women. There's nothing you can do other than. That's why Iran is huge when it comes to bodybuilding, and the fitness industry generally. Iranians are known to be freaks. So that's one part of it, is that there's nothing else to do. And on the other hand, it's again the people are fed up of being obese. They want to be like the American or the English European guy.
They idolize the Western.
Yeah.
The Western, I suppose the Arnold Schwarzenegger heyday look, I guess.
Completely.
Haired, like muscly guy on the beach, is what I envision.
Absolutely. They are in the Middle East. They look at magazines and they look at Charlie Johnson, and they're like, okay, I want to be like that guy. Because for them that is something that is completely different to their lifestyles over there. They don't get to look like this. They don't have this. It's the lifestyle and the look that they get attached or attracted to, and it kind of started that way, and it worked. It is working, but then we have to be they have to be very careful, because a lot of other stuff are getting into the industry, and obviously I don't want to get into details on that, but it's they're still kids. Let's put it that way. Yeah. Kids are, as we say, when we were young and dumb,
learning things.
Yeah, so that's what part of it. That's the Middle East for you.
It's an interesting dynamic there. Is there any tips for your clients that you're running through with anything at the moment, particularly you think you've learned in particular the last few months that's a fresh approach, think it's working well?
Yeah, the thing is with I'm going to talk, because we've opened the topic about Middle East, and I'm going to talk about being a coach, coaching people from all around the world. I'm not only the Middle East, but especially the Middle East, because I'm dealing with a lot of people from there now. There are little things that you have to be clued up as a coach in terms of nutrition and how you can find alternatives to diet, to certain foods.
Particularly geographically, because certain things aren't available in certain places.
Absolutely. Sweet potato in places like in Iraq, this is really hard to get.
No.
They don't even know what it is. When I said to them, do you have any yams or sweet potato? They're like, well, there's something like that? We never knew it. We know the normal potatoes. Something like broccoli, where you buy a broccoli floret for like $10. You know, not a lot of people can afford that. You know, and you get to places like, you know, even in Dubai now, if I tell them salmon, they need to go buy frozen salmon because salmon is not something that is available.
That's initially I found that quite strange because salmon's not even something you think about as a rare commodity.
We're quite lucky here.
But I suppose we're next to the Atlantic and you got salmon everywhere in Scotland. But you don't take these things into account sometimes.
Absolutely. So for my advice to those guys is that get online, use that Google for something that is going to benefit you. You know, sit down and find alternatives of fats and proteins and stuff like that. I mean, I can give tilapia to someone and then they won't find it. Like here, tilapia in the UK, it's hard to find ourselves.
You're frozen.
But we have cod, which is probably even better in terms of, you know, nutrition value. People in the all around the world need to educate themselves to see what they can do. It's like there's no avocado, okay, in some countries. So what is the alternatives? You know, you need to get your fats through nuts, through oil,
extra virgin oil, olive oil.
Exactly, olive oil. You know. So this is definitely something that a lot of people should start looking into. Alternatives. When you're out on holidays, vacations, you know, how are you going to adapt to that country? You need to kind of read before you get there. You know, you need to prep before you get there. So I think this is the main advice that I can give guys now, especially now when we're kind of open. Now, you know, the internet did make
there's information everywhere, isn't like the only problem is it's paralysis by too much information being thrown out that people don't know where to start, but it's trying to like nail down the right people such as yourself, and I like to think myself in terms of people who have the right information will be able to help people to actually take a step forward with whatever it is they're looking to try and achieve.
Of course. I mean, the thing is, nowadays, I mean, there was an article that I was writing actually for Flex magazine. I haven't given it to them yet. The guy's been on my case, and it is about, you know, back in the day how we used to have magazines and we had no one to look after us. We needed to learn through magazines. There was no internet back then. You know, sitting down through a Flex magazine and trying to look, what diet am I going to do, you know, that is similar to that one over here. And my sources are very low. I can have eggs, lettuce, and rice. So what am I going to do here? And now the internet made everything looks too small. Now you can get hold of any information that you want over there. You have people like yourself.
Any product as well. Even I go on Amazon Prime now and buy a fillet from their fresh counters. Be here tomorrow if I wanted.
Exactly. I mean, right now apparently, Amazon does a same day delivery. So I mean, come on, you know, we never had this luxury. And for this new generation to have people like yourselves, like me, to be there to hand over all this that we've learned through years and give it to them, I think that's quite a luxury. And I think people should take advantage of that. I mean, you're investing in yourself. People will actually invest in a car, invest in clothes, but if you're not healthy, all this is
irrelevant. Yeah,
it's irrelevant.
And the thing is, well, from a health perspective, like people are a bit reckless and they don't think about their health when they're trying to necessarily improve their physique, but you have to think on a basic terms. Like the more healthy your body is, the better you progress and perform because it's allowed to do so. Essentially, you're almost taking the handbrake off.
Absolutely. I mean, as I said, before, I was trying to advertise, our podcast session today, and I had so many questions regarding, from the youngsters, regarding, how to start and when to start, and what shall I do before I start, and it's not. These are the things that you don't find on the internet. Let's be honest here. This is when they sit down with, myself, you, or any other coach or competitor, and start asking them, so how did you start? I used to look at Dorian Yates. I used to look at him and think, like, how did he start? And finally he spat it out. The guy actually went down and researched everything before he even thought.
He was like a library. He was just like learning and reading.
Exactly. Before he actually touched any weights.
Yeah, before he went to the gym.
Yeah. So he planned his journey before he even started. If it was going to be something that wasn't even worth it, he probably wouldn't even do it. you know.
But you're serious.
Exactly. But I'm not expecting everyone to do that. But in the same time, I expect people to reach out to us because we're here to help, you know. And I've seen so many people hurt themselves, and I really want to, you know, bring it, you know, alarm all these youngsters. Like, guys, we here, hello, you know, like, come and ask, you know. We don't bite. We might look like models, but you know, we're not, you know, we're not that harsh, you know.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I think people need to, like, it's a courageous thing. The first step, asking for help, particularly say someone's looking to lose weight, as an example. Like, it's a big deal for someone to necessarily first time to go into a gym, and it makes them probably feel very uncomfortable in that environment. And the best thing I can say to them is, look, if you can find a trainer to like take you through everything, that will give you the confidence. And once you've got that confidence, you can train and execute movements correctly. That's a gift that you'll have for life. And it's the same as having a coach to be able to teach you how to eat, what to take, when to take, how to improve your sleep. These are all skills and gifts that once you've learned them, you'll have them forever. And that's only like an investment in yourself that, like, it was going to pay over thousands of times over for every single day of your life once you've learned these skills.
Yeah, I mean, one of the questions that I had is, how do you organize yourself? You know, how do you,
personally,
you know, yeah.
Organized chaos would be the best thing I would say for organizing myself. So from a business and life perspective, is I love a list. So I just go through, I have lists for everything. So I get up in the morning, I've got lists sitting next to me right now of what I need to do every single day, and I just go through that list because it takes the anxiety out of my brain of thinking I need to meal prep, I need to pack my gym bag, I need to get ready for the podcast, I need to upload a YouTube video, I need to do X, Y, Z. If you've got all these things floating around in your brain, that's like negative stress you don't need, and you can't concentrate and focus on being successful on all of those at the same time. Whereas you compartmentalize and break tasks down into, say, okay, I can do this one and this one and this one. You can then work through that list and breaking it down into small chunks. It'd be the same as like yourself for competing or with people when they want to lose weight, that if you look at the journey, the progress you have to make as an overall, that like, oh, Jesus, I need to lose 10 kilos. That's very daunting. Whereas if you're like, okay, I need to lose a kilo a week for 10 weeks, that's then not so bad. And it then becomes manageable.
Of course. I mean, you know, one of the things that a lot of the guys are probably falling in that particular mistake is that you know, I need sleep. Okay, guys, it's fine. We do need sleep to recover and everything, but I mean, technically, you don't. You know, as Arnold says, sleep faster.
Yeah, that's literally one of my favorite sayings.
You know, sleep faster. You're gonna sleep later. You know, and this is what
quality of the sleep you get. And this is what I was saying. People don't think about the skills of what they're doing.
Thank you.
You're up watching YouTube at 12:30 at night, and then you're trying to go to sleep. You're staring at a bright laptop in a dark room.
This is a good thing that you just said that, because this is exactly what I'm trying to explain here to guys who come to me. Is like, yeah, we're trying to, you know, build some muscle, but then our main aim is to compete and become bodybuilders. Like, do you know what it takes to become a fitness model, a bodybuilder, a men's physique, or a muscle model, whatever you want to call it? It takes a lot of discipline. It takes a lot of organization. You know, as you said, now your sleeping protocol. If I wanted to sit down here and tell you what's your sleeping protocol, it'd probably take another 5 minutes out of my pocket.
I tell you what, the one thing that I will recommend to anyone that has changed my life in the last 6 months, and it's incredibly straightforward, and no one will probably ever guess this, is using nasal strips when I sleep. Because I don't breathe properly through. I'm not nasal, like I don't breathe through my nose when I breathe, as you should do. I breathe through my mouth. So when I
I'm the same. Yeah,
I snore and then I breathe through my mouth, and also it means I have high blood pressure because I'm not getting the nitric oxide released from the air coming through my nasal cavity, which is then affects my health. So by using the nasal strips alone, the quality of my sleep is a million times better. I can actually breathe properly when I sleep. My wife doesn't hate me for snoring as much. The bonus. And also my health is a million times better for the most simple fix that you could ever think of. So
that's exactly what I mean. You guys need to try out there. You know, it's like, you know, I mean, I was asked this question not long ago, like, what do you do? You know, the person who asked me had a lot of issues recently. She suffers anxiety, and she lost someone in the family, and she's having this problem sleeping. And I gave her my sleeping protocol. She'd used only half of it, and she's back to normal sleeping now. She's back to training. She's, everything kind of became like a chain. If you sleep well, you wake up early, you do your cardio, you go do your cardio.
The day starts off successfully.
Exactly. And, and then, again, another person came and it was like, okay, what am I doing wrong here that I'm not being able to get any sleep? And part of it is your device. It's the devices around you. A lot of people, I've been reading about devices and what they do while you're sleeping and stuff like that. And I mean, we all know how the human body works, but in terms of electronically how it works, none of us probably researched it.
Yeah, it's a magnetic fields and the Wi-Fi fields come off that. You got a phone next to your brain.
That runs through you like a million times a second, and that keeps you awake. And a lot of people, not even that. I mean, if I would sit down on Instagram right now, just leisure, I'll probably take another half an hour out of my day. I mean, that half an hour is quality of your sleep getting just basically pushed down, the drain. I use some, melatonin. I use 5-HTP. I use zinc and magnesium.
Yeah.
All these things that, when I tell people, it's like, really, is that how much you take for you to be able to sleep? It's like, you guys don't understand. It's not that. It's not. It's the quality that I'm getting. That I don't need to sleep 8 hours anymore. I sleep 5 and I'm okay.
To give another example, so like something else I've started doing is using the Sleep Stack by supplements Dr. Dean put together, and that I use an app called Sleep Cycle. And since I've started using that, it shows my sleep quality's improved 10%. And if you think your sleep quality improves 10% every night, that over a period of time is huge.
Well, there you are. I mean, I think here when your listeners listen to this, they already have a sleeping protocol that we just spat out here. Yeah. You've just given them the answer. And that would solve half your problems. One of the other questions that that came over for both of us, actually, it's the mental aspect of when you're competing or getting ready for a show, or even dieting for any event. It's like, how do you deal with the outside pressure and your surroundings? And
you have to be like, I have this thought a lot sometimes with business as well, because like I not cut people off, but you have to, if you want to be very successful at what you want to do, you only have a finite amount of time in the day. So you can't necessarily be hanging around people in a harsh respect who are literally just filling voids in your day if you've got things to be doing. So you have to be selfish to be selfless, if that makes sense. So you have to put yourself first and be selfish to be successful for your family, yourself, and then to achieve things in life. So like, and it comes to going things like weddings and stuff like that. I'm going to a wedding on Saturday. I'm going to take my food with me. I'm not competing.
Well, it is what it is. It is what it is.
And like, people can say what they like, and I don't give a shit, but it is what it is. And I'll keep my food in the car, and I'll go and eat quickly, and like I'm back again, and then that's it. Like, there's no.
A common thing that we probably most of us did is opening a Tupperware of fish or some sort of chicken, whatever, broccoli on the train.
Oh mate, the plane's even better.
Just disappear, just evaporate.
I was on the plane yesterday back from Marbella, and it looked like this woman was very hungover sitting next to me. She was not impressed when I sat there opening up my chicken after about an hour of the flight. So
yeah, well, again, that's the those are the sacrifices I would call. Like people would look at you and think like, what is this weirdo doing right here?
Well, that's not a sacrifice to me. That's just me living my life because of something.
Absolutely. But then, a lot of people kind of feel shy about it. Like,
yeah, pressure.
I think a lot of the youngsters now, they probably still live at home and stuff, and it kind of feels.
I imagine that is more challenging in respect, like. Yeah. Things like imagine different, like your mum wants to make you dinner, like having family meals. And I think in the greatest respect, the best thing you can do, and like I should have done this when I was younger, sit down with your parents, your spouse, or whoever, and say, look, this is what I want to achieve. Like, I still love you and I want to spend dinner with you, but I have to eat my own thing. And I'll sit with you.
Absolutely. Again,
this is like eat different things pretty much 99% of the time. It doesn't mean feeling different about each other. He chooses different light. Like, we look different with different bodies. Like, we don't need the same nutrients.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, 99% of families would support you if you come up straight up and communicate. It's when they find out that, you know, one of a sudden is like, so what brings you to that fitness thing? What brings you to the gym now? Like, one of a sudden you've changed. It's like, no, you need to sit down and address these things to your family. And I think it's really important that they know exactly what you're doing.
The why.
Because say that again.
It's what's the why behind everything. Like, why are you doing? Like,
exactly.
If you the why behind something, then you can justify it. And
Absolutely. Treat it like you have a part-time job. This is your part-time job, and you just need to tell your parents why you're doing it. You know, you know, family, maybe your spouse, you know, even if you live with your brothers or sisters or whatever, I think it's really important that they know what you're getting into, and that's solving half the problem, because you've already told them. It's when they don't know and they serve your food.
I don't understand.
Or when you're dieting and they pick on you, or, you know, patronizing, or whatever it is. I think once you tell them, like, guys, this is what's going to happen. This is what it is. This is what's going to happen. This is what I want to achieve. I think it solves a lot of the issue here, especially dealing with, as you said, dealing with the surroundings. You just need to block everything away and just, you know, move in your own lane. A lot of the guys now, you know, they start doing whatever they're doing. They progress a little bit, a few pictures on Instagram. And again, your surroundings. Instagram, as far as people are, they're close to you. They're right on your phone. You know, how to deal with that? You know, just don't. If you don't want to post, don't.
You don't want to do. That's
yeah, I mean, again, what do you want to do? Do you want to be a successful Instagrammer, or do you want to become a successful athlete, or do you want this your lifestyle? What do you want to do exactly? Because if you're trying to seek validation from most people, you're going to get hurt, because not everyone's going to like how you look.
Oh no, and people will always shoot you down. Like, that's just the nature of the beast.
I mean, excuse my language. I've had people shitting on me. All right. You know, sorry for using that language, but I mean that you know, social media, I've had rows and you know, I learned I think you agree with that, actually, Charlie. I mean, we're the generation that lived before the social media and during the social media now. So we kind of made every mistake on the book. You know, and you know, we've replied to people for no reason. We don't even know these people. We've all done that. We've argued with people before. We've commented silly comments on others, and we didn't realize how hurtful it is, or because there's no actual you know, facial expressions. We kind of hurt a lot of people. Sometimes people hurt you. You don't realize, and it's really important as an athlete, especially as a youngster. I mean, I've heard about bullying and stuff. You know, I think it's really important that you block yourself out of this. If it's even better to not even put your progress pictures. I think it's just too painful to see people getting, you know, spoken about, not only on social media but outside social media as well. Like, look at how this guy looks. He looks crap. Like, dude, the guy is progressing. He's only young. You know, and it's subjective. I like it.
It's all relative. It depends. He might look crap to you, but is that the best he's ever looked? So progress is progress.
Yeah. The thing is, there's a guy that I want to shout out on here.
Go for it.
And I am so proud of him. I forgot his surname. Connor?
That's a good start. Oh, yeah, Connor Crompton. Oh, yeah, mate, Connor's my boy, yeah.
Connor, I saw this guy. And the reason why I shout out, because we're talking about youngsters and how to come up into the sport.
He's got such a lovely, like, work ethic, attitude, and his family are so loving and supporting. Like,
you know what? I remember him the first day he entered the gym. I was standing there, and he just looked at me and he's like he had this look in his eye, like holy crap, this guy's huge. And obviously I wasn't even that big that then. And I just remember, talking to him, and I just knew where he was heading. The boy knew where he was going. He's a good role model for the youngsters, for the sport. He's done really well. I wouldn't have said that if I didn't see him in good condition. I'm not gonna lie, but because he's reached where he's reached today, being the way he is, with his attitude, with his work ethic, the way he speaks is so intellectual. Like the boy is so. He's a good role model. He's a good ambassador for youngsters, and that's why I'm shouting. I gave him the shout out here. I hope he listens to that, and go Connor, man.
So to wrap this up with a final point, what would be the biggest tip you would have for younger clients you have who are coming into the fitness industry then?
Okay, my biggest tip I can give is do your research, but listen to one person. If you're getting ready for anything, listen to that one person, because it's so confusing out there.
Yeah, and you'll just mind fuck yourself, excuse my French, by asking every Tom, Dick and Harry down the gym. He said, oh, you should be doing this. My mate Bill down the pub said I did this.
Absolutely.
Years ago.
Stay clean, guys.
Or whatever it is.
Exactly. Just stay clean, focus in your lane, listen to that one person, but you need to be very wise to who's that person's going to be, because if I'm going to go down, speaking to that jacked guy over there, that's not going to end up too well.
Yeah, and it's just because someone looks a certain way doesn't mean they necessarily know what they're talking about. So.
Exactly. But as I said, listen to that one person, stay with that person for a long time, give him a chance to work with you. A lot of us coaches, by the way, we don't know your bodies, guys. We don't know how your body works unless we try different things, and then we thought, aha, this is how your body works. That's not good for you. That's good for you. So give those coaches a chance to work with you, and then just keep reading, and just listen to that one person. That's exactly what I'm going to say.
That pretty much reiterates what I would have said as well. So I agree with you entirely. The best thing I would say that biggest mistake I made when I was younger was not educating myself enough and not going out to seek people who had more knowledge than I did to learn from. And now I'm almost on the other end of the spectrum where I want an all-out front for learning everything under the sun so I can become the master of everything. And
okay,
the more you learn, the less you feel like you know, because there's so many different ways to go about it, the same result. So,
Charlie, I'm going to ask you a personal question here.
Go for it.
Before we wrap up, okay? Your star sign, you're a Capricorn, right?
Sagittarius.
Well, almost there, right?
I'm not really big into star signs. I'm not really sure. I
was thinking, because you're since day one, I met you in the gym. You were very quiet.
I'm a natural introvert, which is a very
you absorb and listen.
Yeah, I'm a watcher.
I wouldn't say absorb. I would say you observe.
Yeah.
You don't absorb much. You observe and you just stay quiet. And this is what probably I always thought that you never approached any of us back then, and now you've just confirmed it. You could have asked us.
It's a funny thing that being a natural introvert now with what I do is quite extrovert, but I like to spend a lot of time on my own still, which is just my own personal characteristics, what I'm like as a person. So
yeah. So I want everyone to know that I am working on a documentary. I'll be working with different kind of people. I'm not going to say too much, but at one of the episodes, I'm actually personally inviting you into one of the into the series. I want to see you train with one of the guys. I'm not telling you who it is. It's going to be a complete surprise. Okay.
In advance, I'm away a bit the next few months, but let me know.
I will book you in. Whenever you're free. We just need to get our photographer, our film guy, to be ready, because he's also on a busy schedule. You've worked with him as well, which deserves a good shout out. Actually, Magic Mike, and Michael Reed. You know, he deserves that. He's a good editor. He's a good photographer, and I hope that everyone has a very successful year this year. It seems to be very bright so far. So,
and what's your social media handle so people can find you, Faisal?
It's the Dictator 23, obviously, and I have Hard Body HQ, which is more showing people what I'm doing here and there. It's not very active though. As I said, because I'm quite old school, I don't put much into my social media, but I will start now. As I said, I need to start to put in good content for people. They deserve it. I mean, I've done this for quite a while now, and I think how long do I have? Another couple of years, and I'll probably hang my trunks and try give back to the sport. And that's where I need my social media to pick my ass up a little bit. So let's hope it works well.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. So thank you very much for having you on board.
Thank you. I'm honored. Thank you.
Catch up with you soon. Cheers, bud.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, man.